Honourable Member for Capella Bar.
Mr Speaker, on the 26th of October last year, the people of Queensland spoke. They spoke loud and clear. As Queenslanders often do in elections, they had enough. They had a gutful of the youth crime crisis that was exploding across the state. The Christopher government was elected on the platform of adult crime, adult time. This government is staying true to that platform and have passed the Making Queensland Safer laws before Christmas, just as we promised. The opposition had 10 years to do this, but they did nothing. We've been clear that these laws would only be strengthened and never weakened, and these amendments add a further 20 offences to expand the adult crime, adult time. And they include, to name some, going armed as to cause fear, threatening of violence, attempt to murder, rape, attempted to commit rape, assault with intent to commit rape, as well as many others. These amendments, which were recommended by the expert legal panel, which will make Queenslanders safe. And I will always be proud to put my support behind a stronger youth justice laws and thank the panel for recommending these amendments. While examining the bill, the Justice, Integrity and Community Safety Committee held hearings not only here in Brisbane, but travelled to Cairns, Townsville and the Redlands and heard from victims and other stakeholders regarding these tough new amendments. There were over 50 written and oral submissions from individual groups, many who were supportive and some who opposed them. We heard strong words of support from stakeholders, such as the Queensland Police Union, Queensland Police Commissioner, Victims Commissioner, and many others, including, more importantly, victims of crime. The theme was clear and consistent. There has to be consequences for actions. This government absolutely agrees and will always fight for the rights of victims over the rights of offenders. I was quite surprised by the submission made by the Queensland Law Society, which says, among other things, and I quote, "It is also the Society's strong view that the offence of rape and sexual assault offences should be removed." And I can table their submission here. Probably. Mr Speaker, no amount of legal jargon can convince me, or I can imagine the vast majority of Queenslanders, that rape is not a serious enough offence. It is an adult crime and it deserves to be met with adult time. Mr Speaker, the bill also amends the processes for victims who are on the eligible persons register. It gives them an option to nominate someone else to receive information about custody movements of young offenders on their behalf. This is important change to give greater agency to victims so they can be in control of the way they receive potentially emotional triggering information. It is imperative that we ensure victims in this state genuinely receive justice from our system. It's about time victims come first. All too often, they are left to pick up the pieces alone, and fixing that is a task I will never shy away from. We, the victims, have been left behind and left down for far too long, and in my view, this has to stop. This is what drives me every day to make a difference for my community, to bring down victim numbers and to stand by victims to ensure they receive the justice they deserve. Over the past 10 years, we've had to endure the revolving door of youth offending and being let out time and time again, only to re-offend again. This has to stop. Since the first bill was passed in December last year, the latest police data has shown that there are early signs of decreases across some of the most frequently occurring offences, such as car thefts and unlawful entry. It appears that some of the youth offenders are taking notice of these strong measures. They know this government will always back law-abiding Queenslanders and will not allow them to run wild with zero consequences. Judges have also reflected the requirement for tougher penalties because of adult crime, adult time in some of their sentencing remarks. These are the early signs of the tide being turned on Labor's youth crime crisis. But it doesn't mean we're slowing down. It is motivation to go further. and make sure that the fewer Queenslanders become victims of crime. Mr Speaker, local residents that I listen to in Capalaba tell me constantly that they support and rightfully demand tougher laws to deal with repeat, uncontrollable, unstoppable, untouchable youth offenders. It is obvious the soft touch approach those opposite took to youth crime wasn't working. Juvenile crime rates continued to rise. Our communities are sick and tired of waking up to their cars gone, damage to their homes, and the horrible situation of feeling unsafe in their own home. They've simply had enough. And it's the role of every government, no matter which side of the political divide, is to provide a safe environment for Queenslanders to live. Mr Speaker, we already know the Leader of the Opposition had to drag his caucus, kicking and screaming, to support making Queensland safer laws last December. In the week before the debate, it was reported that a majority of the Queensland Labor caucus was opposed to adult crime, adult time. The opposition members whinged and complained about it, and we all remember the member for Cooper saying she was reconsidering the future within the Labor Party, and then sat in the chamber and sulked with the headphones on, earplugs in, during the rest of the debate. The members opposite still can't decide whether there's a youth crime crisis or if they think, like the former member for Capalaba, that youth crime is a media beat-up. This government knows there is a crisis. Queenslanders know there is a crisis. Yet those opposite still have their heads in the sand. They may think it's a game. I know it's not. If this bill stops one person from stealing one car and killing somebody, then it's done its job. In closing, I wish to ask each and every individual member of the opposition, if you don't support the bill, why not? I urge every member of this House to support this bill. Thank you.
Speaker.